Caitlin Clark may be sidelined and injured, but that didn't stop her from exploding with fury on the sidelines as she watched A'ja Wilson get physical, and the referees struggled to control the game while the Indiana Fever fought tooth and nail in the WNBA semifinals, leaving fans stunned and the Aces scrambling. And now, the question isn't just whether the Fever can survive this series, it's whether Clark's fiery sideline presence is about to ignite her team into one of the most shocking playoff runs we've ever seen. Caitlin Clark's season has been anything but smooth. Sidelined since mid-July with a right groin injury and later an ankle issue, leaving the Indiana Fever without their brightest star at a crucial moment. But absence hasn't dimmed her impact. She's everywhere, from the sidelines to social media, keeping her presence felt on and off the court. Every game, every possession, Clark studies her teammates, points out defensive gaps, and motivates them with relentless energy. Her leadership hasn't faded with her injury. In fact, it's become more visible. The Fever, already on a mission to end a 9-year playoff drought, feed off her intensity, using her belief and vocal presence as a secret weapon. Fans can see it in her clenched fists, in her sideline cheers, in the way she never stops reacting to every A'ja Wilson drive, every contested shot, every questionable call. Clark may not be on the court, but she's running the show from the bench, shaping a team that's about to shock the league. Even from the sidelines, Caitlin Clark's eyes tracked every move of A'ja Wilson, and what she saw made her furious. Several moments during the game had Wilson leaning into overly physical plays, pushing the boundaries of fair competition, and Clark's reactions were impossible to miss. She stood, shouted, clapped, and pointed, letting her frustration be felt across the arena. The referees seemed unable to contain the intensity, missing calls that could have changed momentum, leaving Clark and fans seething. Social media erupted immediately, with clips of Clark's sideline expressions going viral, and fans debating whether the league was failing to protect players or simply letting Wilson's star power override the rules. Some argued it was classic playoff intensity. Others claimed the Aces were intentionally crossing lines to intimidate the Fever. Reports suggest that Clark even communicated discreet tips to teammates between possessions, her leadership shining through as she tried to channel her anger into motivation. The mix of aggressive plays, missed calls, and Clark's fiery response created a combustible atmosphere that had everyone talking players, coaches, fans, and analysts alike, and it set the stage for a Fever team determined to not just survive, but dominate. The Indiana Fever entered the WNBA semifinals carrying a narrative heavier than any scoreboard could show. 9 years had passed since their last playoff series win, and fans were accustomed to disappointment, rebuilds, and short-lived runs. But this season, even with Clark sidelined, the Fever had transformed into a unit defined by grit, resilience, and unrelenting energy. Their first-round matchup against the Atlanta Dream tested every ounce of their resolve. On paper, the Dream had the talent and depth to sweep the series, but Indiana approached every possession like it was do or die. Players who had been overlooked in the regular season suddenly stepped into starring roles. Kelsey Mitchell delivered scoring bursts that silenced skeptics, Aaliyah Boston dominated the paint, and Erica Wheeler orchestrated the offense with veteran poise. Every loose ball, every contested rebound, every defensive stop told the story of a team refusing to fold. Clark's influence from the sidelines amplified their performance, providing leadership, guidance, and an unshakable belief that they could win without their superstar. Fans online dubbed it the number Clark effect, celebrating her indirect yet undeniable role in the team's success. Media outlets picked up the narrative. This was no longer a Cinderella story. This was a team with purpose, intent, and the fire to challenge the league's elite. By the time the Fever closed out the Dream, the message was clear. Indiana wasn't just competing, they were sending a warning. Their confidence, sharpened by adversity, and Clark's energetic leadership from the bench set the stage for the semifinals against the Las Vegas Aces. Game 1 of the semifinals tipped off in Las Vegas with all eyes on A'ja Wilson, the newly crowned 4-time MVP and the defending champion Aces. Everyone expected a routine win for Vegas, a showcase of talent, experience, and dominance. But the Indiana Fever had other plans. From the opening tip, Kelsey Mitchell was on fire, slicing through the Aces' defense with crossovers, pull-ups, and fearless drives to the basket. Every time the Aces rotated to help, Mitchell punished them with precision jumpers and step-back threes. Mitchell finished with a career playoff-high 34 points, dominating a game that should have been stacked in Vegas's favor. Aaliyah Boston controlled the boards, snatching rebounds and shutting down attempts in the paint, while Erica Wheeler managed the floor with veteran poise, ensuring every possession flowed. Elissa Smith added momentum-killing buckets, turning attempted Aces runs into instant deflations. Vegas, meanwhile, appeared flat. Their defense lacked urgency, rotations were slow, and frustration leaked through body language as Indiana's energy, fueled by Clark's fiery sideline leadership, swept through the arena. Even Aja Wilson, usually unstoppable, struggled to find rhythm, her drives contested, her jumpers pressured, and her team left scrambling for answers. The final score, 89-73, wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Indiana hadn't merely beaten the defending champions, they had owned them. Every steal, every fast break, every three-pointer reinforced a narrative that the Fever were no longer just Clark's team. And even without her on the court, her influence had sparked a historic performance that left Vegas stunned, fans exhilarated, and the WNBA talking about one of the most shocking playoff upsets in recent memory. Aja Wilson entered the semifinals as the league's undisputed superstar, freshly crowned four-time WNBA MVP, and the centerpiece of a championship-caliber team. She was expected to dominate, carry the Aces through the series, and remind everyone why she's considered untouchable. But in Game 1, the script flipped. Indiana's defense, energized by the Fever's collective fire and Clark's sideline intensity, challenged Wilson on every play. Drives to the basket were met with double teams, passing lanes were clogged, and every attempt to dictate pace was disrupted. Wilson still produced solid numbers, but it was clear she wasn't in full control. Missed free throws, rushed jumpers, and visible frustration leaked onto her body language. Her teammates struggled to compensate. Kelsey Plum was contained, Jackie Young was off rhythm, and Chelsea Gray couldn't orchestrate like usual. The Aces championship experience didn't translate into dominance that night. Fans and analysts alike noticed the shift. Wilson, typically untouchable, looked human. Indiana had turned the league's MVP into a challenger, and the Fever's performance became about more than just individual stats. It was about teamwork, strategy, and relentless energy. Reports suggest that even sideline Clark's guidance influenced defensive rotations, helping the team anticipate Wilson's moves and create the perfect storm for an upset. The narrative was shocking. The MVP was contained, the defending champs were humbled, and Indiana, without their star on the court, had proven that preparation, grit, and sideline leadership could overcome even the most dominant forces in the league. Even sidelined, Caitlin Clark's presence dominated the Fever's playoff run. She wasn't scoring, but she was directing, motivating, and energizing every possession. From the moment the Fever stepped onto the court, Clark was in constant motion, shouting instructions, clapping furiously after defensive stops, and celebrating every big play with intensity that could be felt by both teammates and opponents. Fans noticed her signature black Air Force 1 second, which became a symbol of inspiration, a visual reminder that Clark's energy and leadership were impossible to ignore. Clark's guidance wasn't just emotional. Reports claim she communicated quietly with teammates, signaling defensive rotations, pointing out gaps, and helping strategize on the fly adjustments. Her influence transformed the team's mindset even without her scoring ability. Players like Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Elissa Smith executed with confidence and precision, feeding off her fire. Social media exploded with praise, dubbing her presence the number Clark effect, a phenomenon where her energy alone could shift momentum and inspire performances that seemed impossible given her injury. Analysts and commentators highlighted how rare it is for a player to have such a profound impact without touching the ball. Clark's leadership blurred the line between player and motivator, demonstrating that influence in basketball isn't limited to scoring. It's about belief, presence, and the ability to ignite others. By the end of Game 1, the Fever's dominance wasn't just tactical, it was emotional, a testament to the power of a star who leads with energy, determination, and an unshakable fire, even from the sidelines. The moment the final buzzer sounded, social media erupted. Fans immediately noticed Caitlin Clark's sideline intensity and the controversial physicality of A'ja Wilson. Clips of Clark's furious gestures, clenched fists, and vocal instructions went viral within minutes, sparking a frenzy of discussion across Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and fan forums. Hashtags like #ClarkEffect, #ProtectClark, #FeverStrong, and #FairPlay WNBA began trending as fans debated whether Wilson's aggressive plays were fair or intentionally crossing the line. Commentators on sports networks dissected each moment, replaying the most controversial incidents, questioning the referees' decisions, and analyzing whether the Aces were deliberately trying to intimidate Indiana. Rumors suggest some analysts privately wondered if the WNBA was hesitant to call fouls on a superstar like Wilson, raising debates about fairness and consistency in officiating. Meanwhile, fans posted clips of Clark's fiery reactions with captions such as, "This is leadership in action," and "Clark doesn't just play, she inspires." Others debated whether she overreacted or if Wilson's actions were simply playoff intensity, creating a back and forth that dominated comment sections for hours. The controversy didn't stay online. Analysts questioned whether the league needed to review officiating standards, while fans compared Clark's fine earlier in the season for social media comments to Wilson's unchecked physicality in Game 1. Some argued the WNBA had inadvertently allowed the story to become bigger than the game itself, with Clark's reactions turning into a symbol of both leadership and frustration at inconsistent officiating. Reports claim players felt energized by Clark's presence, using her fury as motivation to challenge the league's top team, while Vegas struggled to adjust to both Indiana's aggressive play and Clark's psychological influence from the sidelines. This tension created a layered narrative. The Fever weren't just competing against the Aces, they were battling the league's referees, social media scrutiny, and expectations of fair play. Fans speculated on every angle how much of Indiana's upset was strategy, how much was Clark's invisible leadership, and how much was the Aces' frustration boiling over into mistakes. The discussion extended beyond the court, shaping narratives about power, fairness, and the emotional influence a superstar can wield, even while sidelined. By the end of the night, it was clear that this semifinal series wasn't just about basketball, it was about leadership, influence, and how one player's energy could ignite an entire team and challenge the league itself.